Pixels, everybody. In the next Diablo Immortal update, we will see permanent cosmetics added to the game. These will be based on the cumulative time that you've been an Immortal after this patch. This time, it's unsure if the current reigns will get their totals added, as we're yet to receive any confirmation on that. You'll be able to don these cloaks whether you're an Immortal or not once you unlock it. And what's this mean exactly? Well, it means massive consolidations of power are about to occur, and it's coming to a server near you regardless of how your current server is. That's because for clans that can't hold 7-week reigns, 7 weeks are required for the most coveted versions, well, they're going to transfer to servers that they can hold 7-week reigns. Now, consolidation of power isn't new either. This occurs in all mobile games that I've ever played, anything with pay to win, and it's been happening in Diablo Immortal from the start as well. There's been account purchases within the game since day one. These pixels, however, are just going to expedite the process that we've seen already. We're going to see mega clans, splitting into as many as 10 shadow clans to rule the Rite of Exile, and then converge into 3 Immortal clans when the reign is taken. After 7 weeks, they'll repeat this process. You'll likely see a lot of servers forming long-term alliances between the strongest 300 players, leaving little to no room for free-to-play or low spenders. Don't be fooled by the clans and players claiming that they're not going to do this. Over the course of the next reign or couple reigns, the minds and number of players climbing aboard will increase as some of these cloaks start popping up. With 7 weeks being the finale of a reign, you'll have to do this 6 times, with a minimum of 3 weeks between for the opposing reign. This will take a minimum of 14 months to complete. That's if you do it as efficiently as possible. Will there be a server somewhere that trades 7-week reigns between 6 clans? Most likely, but what about the other clans in that server? They won't exist. They'll never get that invite now because the other 6 clans will want to keep progressing their cloaks. If the goal was to make Immortals more appealing, they've hit the player base where it hurts. Ego. Alley of Blood will be replacing the Shadow War, and it looks sick, right? This is a single lane PvP match. You battle from one end to the other against another clan. But hold on. How many people are actually playing against another clan in Shadow Wars? Or is it 50 against 2? With no changes being made to how the clans are matched, this will still result in active clans being faced against nobody. You'll still have a deflating experience, unfortunately. Fortunately, they have made some changes to the way that clans are matched. The structure of Shadow War is also changing. Clans will now be divided across multiple groupings based upon their clan's classification. The matches themselves will be broken into 4 categories: Eminent, Exalted, Famed, and Proud. Clans will have anywhere between 3 and 12 matches and receive points based on the category of the match. In the event that nobody from the opposing team shows up, you'll win by default. First, I want to mention this event will be available for everyone to try in a 4v4 format from September 21st to October 5th. If you enter the event, all characters will be set to level 60, the rank of all legendary gear will be set to 1, all legendary gems will be set to rank 10, bonuses from Resonance, Clans, Warbands, Normal Gems, Charms, Helliquary, Stances, and Paragon are all disabled, making this a perfect opportunity to try the event out regardless of your tenure within the game or your level of spending. With that out of the way, the concept is pretty straightforward. You battle down one lane with the opposing team on the other side of it. You'll have guardians coming to your aid that you'll want to help escort, as they deal massive damage. On top of this, there are specialist skills that you can choose from to boost various aspects of the match. We'll cover these in more detail when the 4v4 event is released, likely with at least one video if not more, but you can select from 8 skills with 4 different roles: Focus, Siege, Skirmish, and Support. Collect Champions Marks by cutting down the enemy team's forces. This will increase your size and power. However, keep in mind that if you die, that the enemy team will then be able to pick them up and increase their own size and power. Here are some tips that are included to help you be more familiar with some of the mechanics within the new event. Sentry towers defend themselves and deal damage to guardians in their proximity first, and then the player. Towers prioritize dealing damage to players who attack a player allied to the tower while within the tower's proximity. Should you die in Alley of Blood, you'll be automatically resurrected after a period. Resurrection time increases as the match progresses. Health potions are replaced with a bandage to self-heal. The bandage has a 60-second cooldown. Everyone starts the match with a 5-second boost to movement speed. You'll no longer wait in a lobby 20 minutes prior to the Shadow War. Now you'll zone in at 7:30 and the matches will begin 5 minutes after that. Take note of the top of the screen here where the times and days are listed as well. On top of the weekly matches that you'll have against other Shadow Clans, the top 3 Shadow Clans will face off versus the Immortals in the Vigil of Blades for the first 3 weeks of a new reign. Whoever wins 2 out of 3, or potentially 3 out of 3, will get a 4% damage and health buff that applies to the Rite of Exile only. It will not apply anywhere else. but it does stack, and like I said, it's available for the first 3 weeks, meaning up to 12% life and damage can be gained. Tristram Cathedral will make its debut at this time as well, and this is a brand new dungeon. Now, there's no new set being added, so the drops from dungeons will change, and you'll be able to view the locations in-game with the current tooltips that exist already. Tristram Cathedral will bridge the story and bring both some very familiar faces to Diablo Immortal, as well as some new mob types to the game. This dungeon is designed with speed and repetition in mind. I haven't had a chance to play it yet personally, but I imagine it will become the go-to for farming, so check it out when it releases. We'll of course be getting 3 new legendary gems as well. The 1-star, Eye of the Unyielding. This will increase your continual damage done, as well as reduce the continual damage taken. The 2-star, Viper's Bite. Damaging enemies poisons them with Viper's Venom, causing them to take base damage plus some additional damage every second for 6 seconds. Enemies inflicted with Viper's Venom also have their attack speed reduced by 6%. Void Spark. Dealing damage conjures a Void Spark for 6 seconds. While the Void Spark is active, dealing damage has a 30% chance to unleash lightning that chains up to 8 enemies. Dealing base damage percentage as well as additional enemy, and your attack speed is increased by 16%. All 3 of these gems seem like they'll be viable in one way or another depending on your situation in regards to your spending level. From September 21st to October 12th, you'll have the option to enable a modified drop table for the legendary crests when running Elder Rifts. Once enabled, whenever you receive a 5-star legendary gem as a drop, there's a 50% chance it will be a Void Spark. Now, I did recently speak with the devs, and I want to mention that there is large consideration being made to have modified drop tables that appear like banners more periodically, allowing you to potentially collect some of the gems. Now, this isn't set in stone, but I want you to be aware that it is something that's being discussed. We'll be seeing a new limited time event called Champions Revolt as well. This will occur from September 21st to October 5th. You can complete these tasks infinitely, so this is something different than we've seen before. As you complete them, you'll receive Champions commendations, and as you accumulate a sizable chunk, or 1,200 commendations, you can exchange them for rewards such as gold, scrap, dust, legendary items, telluric pearls, and legendary crests. The Season 18 Battle Pass will include the cosmetic Fresh Meat, and this is a skin that's designed with a butcher in mind. This looks pretty interesting for all the classes, so check that out as well when you get a chance. On top of that, we'll be seeing the return of Phantom Market. This one is called Deathless Destiny. This will work similar to all the previous Phantom Markets. This will have a percentage chance, which is listed depending on when you roll, what your odds are obtaining each specific item within. Feature updates. Legendary gems can now be upgraded in smaller increments. Starting at rank 5, legendary gems receive a smaller incremental upgrade when combining each duplicate copy of the gem, instead of requiring the full set to upgrade it to the next rank. This change does not lower the overall number of gems required to upgrade. Skill interruption. Abilities with short cast time, like the Crusader's Holy Banner and Fist of the Heavens, will no longer be interruptible. And I think this is a pretty big change. This will affect a lot of things in PvP, especially after we've seen that damage reduction across the board as well. Random Dungeon Finder. This is super exciting for a lot of people. Players now have a 1-button click. This will jump you into a random dungeon's depths. While searching for a random dungeon, players may be grouped with another team at any time. This will reduce the overall time spent matchmaking, and players who enter a dungeon using this feature will have an increased chance to receive set items as a reward. First Kill of the Day rewards. The rewards received for getting your first kill of the day are changing. This only applies to players who have achieved 7 or more first kills of a day ever on their respective character. Starting on your 8th kill of the day, you'll receive the following rewards. This set of rewards will continue to recycle after completion. First day, Rare Crest. Second day, a Charm. Day 3, Random Legendary Item. Day 4, 200 Hilts. Day 5, 5 Aspirant's Keys. Day 6, 1 Random Normal Gem. Day 7, 1 Random 1-star Legendary Gem. Overall, way better rewards. Rite of Exile changes, and we already covered this. Essentially, the Blessed Reign will be successfully defending the crown for 7 weeks. During the first 3 weeks of the reign, the top 3 Shadow clans will also battle the Immortal clans. This will give a stacking 4% life and damage buff for whichever side wins 2 out of the 3 battles. Battleground Idol changes. We've increased the speed for the idol during Phase 2 of Battleground and Rite of Exile. The more players on the idol, up to 4, will increase the movement speed by up to 30%. Additionally, reduce the time required to activate the idols at the beginning of Phase 2. This will make things more favorable for the attacking side. Skills that provide the player with untargetable status will also no longer be able to push the idol. They'll be going through legendary essences to ensure consistency, but right now the main offenders are between 2 classes, Blood Knight and Necro, Sanguinate, Solemn Snare, as well as Wraith Form. When attackers successfully push the idol to the end during Phase 2, there's a short delay between that and successfully completing the phase. These two events now occur at the same time. This prevents situations where attackers could push the idol to the end, but would still lose the match because the doors hadn't opened yet, and more time hadn't been added to the clock. Immortal Vault Defense Rewards. These have been increased, and you can now earn up to 200 hilts for successfully defending the vault, and the weekly cap has been increased to 1400 hilts as well. The Immortal Daily Quests have actually been revamped, and these are now weekly quests as opposed to daily, meaning you can log in whenever convenient and complete them. Immortal Clan changes. Essentially is being removed from the game and will no longer be required as a resource for opening Kyan's vault. As a result, Shadows and Immortal will now fight over vault supplies in the raid and defend the vault activities. Adjustments have also been made to how Kyan's Ordeal interacts with Deodesa's Blessing, so there will be some initial conflict between the Shadows and Immortals for this bonus. Lastly, the damage bonuses received by Shadows when they increase their individual rank, and for Immortals when they increase their reign, have been changed to progress at more even rates between the factions. The damage bonuses have also been lowered with a new maximum benefit of 16, where these used to be 32 and very lopsided at the start of reigns. A second Shadow Assembly is being added as well. For those that cannot make the 7 to 9 p.m. slot, there will also be one from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Hopefully you'll be able to make the new one if the previous one wasn't available to you. Shadow War times, as mentioned before, are going to begin at 7:30, and there's going to be a preparation phase of 5 minutes. This is different than when you used to zone into the lobby at 7:10 or 20 minutes prior. Shadow Daily Quests will now have 21 tasks to complete each week instead of 3 tasks per day. This will put it in line with the Immortal changes where you have all week to complete the tasks. 8 all-new Elder Rift modifiers: Chain Reaction, Combo, Crusher, Instability, Flurry, Rampage, Minefield, and Endless Treasure, just to kind of spice things up and make them a little more interesting. Unlocking new zones have been changed as well. Stormpoint requires Hell 1, Dread Reaver Dungeon requires Hell 2, and Ancient Cradles requires Hell 3. Hero's Journey Chapters 5 and 6 will now be available as well, provided you've completed the previous chapters. For the Warband, players that are behind on the Warband's Ancestral Tableau will now receive bonus points to help them catch up to other players. Players that are just starting will receive up to a 5 times bonus that will decrease as they get closer to the limit. Additionally, players no longer need to be in a warband to participate in Defense of Crying and Purge the Deaths. Both activities can now be accessed in Westmarch through Valstus, the Warband Steward, meaning you don't need to be in a warband to improve your tableau and benefit your character. The Defense of Crying time that it takes to complete rounds has been decreased in the Endless mode. 12 new pages for the Horadric Bestiary. UI changes to Immortal Treasury rewards. Prodigy's path has been updated. Also some miscellaneous, some of which are really massive for certain people. The loadout slots in the Armory have been increased from 5 to 10. Capacity of gems in your inventory has been doubled to 80. Players will now have a 30% damage reduction bonus in all Accursed Tower matches to put it in line with how the Battlegrounds are. Reward chests and dungeon runs that have 4 players will now automatically open rather than needing to click them. New servers will provide players with an experience bonus until they reach max level, and the bonus begins 2 weeks after the server goes live. So, tons of stuff. I think from a wide perspective, a lot of this looks incredible. I'm not sure it's all going to play out as it looks on paper per se. However, we'll see how things go, and perhaps some changes can be made in the future to bring things into a more realistic perspective. Feel free to leave comments on anything that you like here. I imagine there's going to be a lot of feedback about the changes, especially involving the cosmetic cloaks that will now be available and how that's going to affect individuals, clans, and servers. As always, thanks for taking the time to watch, and have a great day.